Okay, welcome back. It's been another 15 minutes. Let's check out our crystals. Not much is going on there, right? So I'm assuming that the reaction's done. I didn't see any more silver crystals really form. So our goal is to get the silver. The silver is the product that we're measuring. The other product is the copper nitrate, and that's the blue liquid. So we want to get silver by itself and figure out how many grams of silver we got in the finished product. And then we can use stoichiometry and figure out how many grams of silver metal we should have been able to get in a perfect world. And then from that, we can use our percent yield equation to see how we did as a lab group. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to shake the copper wire again. And my goal is to get it's impossible to get every single silver flake into my beaker, but I got a beaker down here. So here's what I'm going to do. Let me shift my screen down. There we go. I am going to pull my copper wire out, hold it over my beaker, and then look for any big silver pieces. And we're going to try to rinse it with water and see if we can get any silver pieces out off the wire into the beaker. I want to be able to weigh the copper wire. So what happens here is the copper left the wire. All right, this is a very important step. The copper reacted, whatever copper wire reacted, left the wire and is now part of the blue liquid. So because some of the copper reacted, the copper should be lighter. So I'm gonna get a paper towel and I'm gonna lay my copper wire on it. And later on in this period, I'm gonna weigh my dry copper wire, right? I have to make sure this is dry because if it's wet, think about that. Let's say this copper wire weighed 20 grams. And it should weigh 19 grams right now, but I weigh it and it's wet, then it's going to weigh more than what I think it should. So instead of weighing 19 grams, it might weigh like 19 and a half. So instead of me taking 20, what I started with, and subtracting 19 and say, hey, I reacted 1 gram of copper. If my copper wire is wet and weighs 19.5, 20 minus 19.5 is 0.5 grams. That's a big deal, right? That's a big mistake that people can make. So our products have to be dry in order to weigh them. So now my goal is, look at all this beautiful silver in here. I need to get that silver from there into there. So let's go ahead and try to do that. So I'm going to loosen up my clamp here a little bit. Let me try to zoom out. There we go. And let me try to tilt this down. Perfect. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to try to dump this all in. Tap it a few times. And then I'm going to spray a little bit of water in here, just to try to get any leftover silver flakes that might be in there. So look at how much, I got blue liquid in here, I got copper nitrate in here, I got silver in here, I got a bunch of water in here. We need to get the silver by itself, and so we're going to use a process right now called decanting. And so what decanting is, I'm going to wait about a minute, I'm going to let the silver crystals settle to the bottom. Silver's dense, right? It's sinking to the bottom. There might be a random silver flake or two that are floating up around, but the bigger pieces of silver have all sank to the bottom. Look at it. So what I can do to speed up the process is I'm going to pour off the liquid the best I can. So I'm going to take my stirring rod, and once again, this is called decanting. Take my stirring rod, I'm going to put it over 2 places. One place will go over the end, the spout, and then I'll rest it on the back. And I'm going to try to pour as much of that into the sink as I can without losing any silver. So my goal is to do this. Try to pour off, let me put this over here. Try to pour off maybe 95% of the water the first time. This is the copper nitrate the first time. So here we go. Very slowly. It just rolls right down the stirring rod. That stirring rod helps catch any little silver flakes and helps keep them in the beaker. But instead of it dripping down to my finger, it follows the stirring rod into the sink. All right, I got a lot of it, but look, there's still some blue liquid in there. I don't want to risk losing big clumps of silver, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my distilled water, my purified water, and I'm going to rinse this a couple times. I'm going to do this process 2 or 3 times, and I got a leaky water bottle here. All right, so I'm just basically diluting it. I want to get rid of that blue solid because think about it, if you have some extra copper nitrate in with the silver, that's going to make your silver weigh more than what it should. And that's a problem too. That would give you over 100% yield. So our goal when we're all done and our crystals are dry, we shouldn't see any blue, we shouldn't see any copper nitrate left in there. So I'm going to rinse this another time and decant, and then I'll do it one more time. And I'll look very closely. If I think I still see any blue tint, I will do it another time. I can do this as many times as I want. I can do it 1, I can do it 3, I can do it 5. The more the better to a certain point, because you don't want to lose silver along the way. So we want the copper nitrate to be gone, but we don't want to lose the silver too. So it's a sort of a fine balance. All right, that's most of it. So they're still wet. So what do we do here? Well, we're going to use the oven in the back of the room. So what we're going to do, I'll take you through a little walk. There's our Super Bowl champion, Philadelphia Eagles, Nick Foles. Hello, Nick. Miss you. We're coming back here by the Philly sign to the oven, the chemistry oven of science. Here we go. So back here in Philly's land, we got the oven, not for making cookies, but for drying chemicals. So I'm going to turn the oven on. Let me plug it in. That helps. All right. Here we go. Red light's on. I'm going to take my beaker. Now, if this is for me in class, I would put my initials on it. I'd put a little piece of tape. I didn't point this out, but we weighed this beaker, right? We know how much it weighs when it's empty. All right, so if you read through the lab procedure, we need to know how much a beaker weighed before we put all this stuff in it. So if my beaker weighs 50 grams, I put it in the oven. All the water is going to evaporate, leaving only the silver behind. So if I start out weighing 50 grams and now in the end, with the silver in it, it weighs, let's say, 52 grams, then I know how much heavier it is. That is the silver crystals. That's how I figure out how much product I made. All right, so the oven's on, and I'm not going to show you the last step, but the last step then will be just to pull out the silver crystals in the beaker, weigh the beaker again, get that final number, and that allows you to figure out how much my lab group actually got as far as silver goes. And then I want to do some stoichiometry, right? I want to look at the balanced chemical equation, look at what I started with, look at how much copper was used up, look at how much silver nitrate I started with, and figure out how much silver I should be able to produce through this experiment. So Mrs. Lego and I will be happy to help you out if you get stuck anywhere. So just send us a message on Teams or stick around second half of class. And yeah, have a great day, everybody.